midst since yesterday. The Honorable Commissioner for Water Resources in Osun State, Honorable Sunday Olufemi Orunmi.
Thank you.
Kabisa, thank you. I hope you enjoyed Abeokuta.
Very well.
Thank you very much.
We also have engineer Amadala.
That's my guy, number one in that. We also have in our midst since yesterday the special advisor to the governor of Osun State on Rural Water and Environmental Sanitation Agency, Honorable Odelade Olaniwaju. Thank you very much. I'm grateful. Also, we have in our midst the Executive Director, Engineering, Engineer Babalola Olatunji, FNSC, FNIWI, Chairman of today's commission. Also, we have from the ministry, the same face yesterday. We have them in our midst. They are all welcome. And also, we have in our midst the Director, Legal, Mrs. Judith Agbo. Thank you very much. We also have in our midst the management of Osun River Basin Development Authority. We have the Assistant Director, Admin, Ms. Nike Fadipe, the Assistant Director, Operation and Maintenance, Engineer Fakayode, the Assistant Director, Electrical, Engineer Araromi, and the Head, Public Relations and Protocol, Mr. Salim Adeli in our midst. You are welcome. We also have representative of the Water Corporation Ogun State in our midst. I didn't know if they are here with us now. We are here, so please you can introduce yourself to us.
So good afternoon all. My name is Engineer Okidara Kanye. I'm the Assistant General Manager Production of the State Water Corporation.
You are welcome. Okay, we still have new faces in our midst. Okay.
I'm Engineer Musa Abdulmuini. I represent Ministry of Agric, Osun State Ministry of Agric.
I'm Kola Adeshina, Director of Economic Planning. I'm representing the Ministry of Economic Planning Budget, Osun State.
My name is Engineer Umle Olaliko. I am from the State Water Corporation.
Thank you very much. It shows that we have larger representation from Osun State. You are welcome to Osun River Basin Development Authority. So now I would like to hand over the mic to the Executive Director, Engineering, Engineer Babalola Olatunji, to take up the proceeding of today. It is
for Water Resources, Osun State, the SH to the Governor and other team members. Gladly welcome Ogun State Water Board team. I think today we're meant to continue from where we stopped yesterday. And yesterday we started in a good time, and the key highlight for yesterday was a brief on SPIN project. And SPIN is the acronym for Sustainable Power and Innovation for Nigeria. And then we now dovetail into the engagement template on screening for criteria for states to be part of the project. And yesterday we had two states, Osun State and Ekiti State, represented by their commissioners. And Ekiti had to leave yesterday, and they have submitted their documents, while Osun State back and promised to come with more delegates for continuation of the discussions. And today we have in our midst the Ogun State Water Board, Water Corporation representatives. And that would mean that what we have to do today is to run through what we did yesterday, the brief on SPIN, the engagement criteria, and then we will take it from there. So yesterday we had a good outing with both states, where we had deliberations, useful ones. We had clarifications on the criteria setup, and we spoke greatly of the project and its benefits. I think for today, I would like us to quickly do a recap of, by going through the presentations yesterday for the benefit of the Ogun State people who are here. Then I think we'll carry on from this. Thank you very much for your time, and we hope that we'll have a fruitful deliberation. Thank you very much.
Okay. Once again, you are welcome into this second day of our program. Yesterday, we ran through the criteria for selection of states that will benefit from SPIN projects. Yesterday, I was able to establish that SPIN project is a development to trimming. Trimming is just concluded this year. That is transforming irrigation management in Nigeria, which some states in the north benefited from, and they are, it's a success story today. So Spain is to build on that, and the opportunity has opened up for other regions to benefit from this one. It's a World Bank assisted project. Earlier, the ministry wrote the states, all the states in the country, to indicate their interest. Some states already indicated interest. I'm not too sure if Ogun State, but I believe that opportunities is open since we are still at this screening stage. So this project, the federal government want to partner with the states. That's why we are here. And the states need to, apart from showing interest, we should go beyond that level by showing commitment. Because the commitment will show that we are serious about it. So yesterday we ran through the criteria, and why we are using this criteria, because of the limited fund, and which may not go around all the states in the country. So to justify the selection, we want to make it open so that everybody will know if their state is not considered, there will be no trouble. So we want transparency, and that is why we have come up with this criteria. We have three major criteria. The first one is demonstrated commitment. Demonstrated commitment. So under demonstrated commitment, that is A, the state must show availability of law or passage of legislation recognizing formation and function of water user association in irrigation and drainage subsector. Why this? Because the projects will be managed, operated and managed by the water user association, because to be handed over to them, it becomes their projects, and they will need state support. They will need state support in terms of guarantee and other logistics that will make, because like a social service, we should see it as part of social services. And the objective is to improve on food production. And we all know that the primary agenda of this current government is food security. So, to show this commitment on the support, legislation and law for water user associations in the country, we will need a copy of the state law providing legal recognition of WUASI or a written commitment from the state government to establish the law within 6 months of project effectiveness. What we are saying here is possible that the state may not have on ground now, may not have existing law backing up the Water User Association, but because of these laudable projects and the interest that the state can give us a written commitment to that within the next 6 months it will be out, and if they pursue it diligently, we know that this thing can be ready, and such letter should be endorsed by the government. Under this one, A2, we have commitment to support Water Association to maintain, this is another one, to support, to maintain and operate managed tertiary canals and other farm level infrastructures on both federal and river basin and state scheme. This one also, we need a written commitment from state government to financially support us on operational and maintenance need of secondary and tertiary system. Item A3, appropriation and release of counterpart funds as follows. Appropriation and release of counterpart funds as follows. We have 2 models. We mentioned it yesterday. Model one is minimum. The state must show commitment, counterpart funding of 200 million naira, not dollars. Though the loan is dollars, but this one is in naira, and it will be paid into designated federal account. And we have model 2. Model 2 is the state will show commitment of minimum 500 million, which will also be paid into designated state account. So the difference between model 1 and model 2, the model 1 is going to be under federal government and river basin development. So the state will partner with the federal government. While model 2, the state will obtain the loan direct. The state will obtain the loan direct from the federal government, from the World Bank, through the anyway, the Federal Minister of Finance, it will be involved. So for this one, at this stage, a written commitment from state government to release into the project designated account by the time the project take off. So we are looking at a written document, commitment by now, because we are still at preparatory stage. So it's not necessary that the money should be on ground, or the commitment. So under technical, we are also looking at technical, apart from financial capability or the ability, we are also looking at technical aspects of it. Under this one, we have existing scheme. We want to know, you guys, existing scheme requiring rehabilitation and potential for expansion for maximum leverages of some cost, because we know that some states have some irrigation schemes that are performing below objective, below the expectation, maybe because of financial constraint. We like to cite it. We want to have it. B2 under technical available facility study report. We need it also to show the integrity and the standard. Maybe it's up to the standard. So we are looking at also report on the feasibility and detailed design of that one, because we need to cross-check it if there's need to improve on it, because we may need to upgrade also. Availability of suitable land and soil, that one we need a report or document to show that there is land and soil to grow whatever we want to grow. We are also looking at the size. So we look at minimum of 500 hectares of land or above. If it's above, it can be in fragments. B5 we also need to confirm availability and reliable water resources without creating major conflict to other users and uses. Why this one is essential? If there's a storage in form of dam or weir that is meant for only water supply, we need to know that if there is upgrading and we are adding irrigation scheme to it, or want to enlarge what we have on ground, we need to know that the
Dixon for the highlights that has been given. Honorary Commissioners and ED Engineering and Assistant General Manager Water Corporation. In addition to these templates, I want us to look, as part of my presentation yesterday that was taken back, I referred each to the presentation I made yesterday, but I want to make a point on A2 on this template. A2. Engineer Dixon. A2. The A2 is commitment to support water resource associations to maintain, operate, and manage tertiary canals and other fund-level infrastructures on both federal and rural business development authority and the state schemes. There are only two things that may be required there. It's either the state can obtain a budget line for operation and maintenance to support the water resource association. That's the first option, sir. Then, when we look at the A3 under SPIN Model 1, states minimum of 200 million, SPIN Model 2 states minimum of 500 million. The Model 1, which was said to be designated into federal accounts, what it means that these are federal government projects, either situated in any of the states, and that has already have study and design. So that will not require study and design. And the study and design is available so that it can be accommodated immediately. Am I right, Council? Secondly, on the SPIN Model 2, which states that minimum of 500 to be paid into designated states accounts. Those are the projects from the states also that they have not possibly submitted their study and design, or study and design have not been done. Am I clear, sir? That the study and design has not been done, then it means this can take a longer time before it can be accommodated into this. But in the first one, if the study and design is already on the ground, it can be accommodated immediately in the SPIN program immediately. So those are the two differences, sir. Yes. When we look at, I don't know if you have my presentation of yesterday, sir. Yeah. On the SPIN as platform to catalyze key opportunities. The federal irrigation scheme, the trimming model, the funding will be Federal Ministry of Water Resources, construction, Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation, owner, River Basin Development Authority, operation and maintenance are the River Basin Development Authority plus the Water Resources and Sanitation. Then the monitoring is the River Basin Development Authority. The regulators will now be Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation. That was on the first one that I explained, sir. On the state's irrigation scheme.
You said after the construction, now you can go over to the water. So the operation and maintenance, the responsibility of the river basin.
Yes, that's it.
But which will involve the construction of the
All process. Please go ahead. On the SPIN as platform. SPIN as platform. Yeah, the next slide. Here. This is the response. Does that yes. It's already there. That is it.
Yeah. Let me shed light on this. I think I would rather prefer that we complain to Ogun State that is here. I will suggest you just quickly run through these slides once more. That's told by everybody. Yeah. Then when we get to this point, we'll actually see what the federal scheme stipulates and the state scheme. You know, like I said yesterday, the first program was streaming, which was spearheaded by the federal government and the RBTs. And in our wisdom, the bank felt the states were not fully carried along. And it was actually supposed to continue the O&M for sustainability. So that is where states are now coming in. That's why we have option one, which is the federal schemes, where the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and the RBDAs have identified projects that they have studied and designed, ready to go. But there is no way in SPIN that this project will go well without the involvement of states through the WAS. That's option one. Then option two is where the state on their own can access funds still through the Federal Ministry of Finance to own their own projects. Those ones may not really have designs ready, right? So that is the difference between models 1 and models 2. But both of them, the states have the opportunity of working with them as long as WAS are involved. As you can see from the screen there, no, just come back. Yeah. That is the federal irrigation scheme, which is the trimming model. The funding agency is the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation, and then those who do the construction is equal to the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation, and then the owners actually is the RBDA, and then the O&M is to be done between the RBDA and the WAS. The RPGs are the ones who control the water supply. They control the releases of water to the irrigation fields, where the WUAs actually run the farms and maintain the canals, the secondary and tertiary canals, and they make money from there and run it by themselves. So that is the difference, the collaboration there. Then the monitoring, of course, is done by the RPGs, and then who regulates at that point the premise of the resources and sanitation. Then for the new scheme now that we are currently tinkering with is where the states actually wholly own the aggregation schemes, and that's where we have the SPIN, which is the pilot scheme, and then the funding is going to be done by the states. While the surplus, the Federal Water Resources, is that there will be some form of synergy, hence Federal Ministry of Finance is there. And then the lessons learned from the trimming will not be transferred if you knock off the premise of Water Resources. That is where they have brought them in. And then the construction will going to be done by the state, unlike the trimming the state one, which was done by the premise of Water Resources. And then the owner, of course, is the state. And then the O&M, the operation and maintenance of the schemes, is actually the state and the WUAs, strictly, unlike the first model, which was the RPGs and the WUAs. And then the monitoring is going to be done definitely by the RPGA. Just to answer your question, in both schemes, the RPGs are involved. I think what we're thinking of doing, of achieving, is actually a case of sustainability of this project and the ownership by the people which come under the WUA. In both of this, the RPDA and the WUAs of the state will have to work together, and I like the way you were asking them for documents yesterday, and they were willing to share. So then the regulator, of course, overall, because the Premise of Water Resources and Premise of Finance will have to stand as guarantors for the funding. They will still have to have oversight functions, but that's not to say that the power does not reside in the state. So I think I'll just let me shed light on this, and I don't know if the people want to take this slide through for Ogosin to listen, or let me run through it. Yeah. So can we just give another 10 minutes? I'll be quite fast. Yes, the beginning of this project is actually the trimming project, and I'm sure we're all aware of trimming project. Trimming is transforming irrigation management in Nigeria. Ogun State, are you aware of trimming? Good. So, I'll go back please. Yeah, so that is trimming. Now, trimming 2 is a combo of irrigation and power. And the idea came from storages that were not utilized, and they could be put into use for power generation. This power generation could equally assist in helping running the dams and then irrigation systems. If you have excess power, you can send to national grid, or you use them locally. And I think the thinking of the state there is to promote federal and state partnership. The administration of the government has the intention by 2030 to have achieved 500,000 hectares of arable land in the country to help promote food security. So that is the target. So SPIN is seen as an opportunity to tap the untapped potentials of the country, and we know water is fundamental for agriculture, of course, climate resilience, economic development, job opportunities, and food security. And these untapped irrigation potentials, only 57% of the 6.7 metric tons of rice consumed in Nigeria annually are produced locally. The rest shortfall is imported, so we can do better. Then only 7% is currently developed, and the federal government has the goal of achieving the 500,000 hectares by 2030. And the country, of course, we're blessed with abundant water resources, and we have quite a number of dams in the country, up to the tune of 600 number of dams of various sizes and capacities in the country. And yet, we will still suffer food security, we suffer flooding, we suffer drought, and so on and so forth. Yet, we have the potential of averting them. The hydropower potential for the country is estimated at over 14,000 megawatts, which is 85%, which have not been tapped to 14,000 is about just 50% of the hydropower potential. So we still have a shortfall of 85, and yet we're still drown in lack of electricity or power or energy in the country. So Spring Help aims to help us secure and maximize the socioeconomic value of water storages, support institutional development in irrigation, and protect people from floods, droughts, and contribute to the energy security of the country. Next slide. Yeah, I think while looking at what we had in the past and now, some gaps were identified in the areas of the water resource management of the sector. And from the World Bank, the Water Security GP have identified and broken them down into 4 frameworks. We have the legal, irrigation, water, storage management, and hydropower. And then, of course, we want to leverage on the lessons learned from trimming, and then let's build on the lessons from there. Then, of course, the bank and the Water Resources Ministry have observed that a serious gap in the legal framework, and this is to say there were no legal basis for WAS in the state, and this has not helped the operational maintenance of our facilities. And then the River Basin governance is to revise and strengthen the state's ownership so that they can be sustainable. And then there's need to revise Water Resources Management Act. Of course, we know that we have the act which has been going forth and back, and that has already given the sector the legal framework to be able to deal. And that is why in the criteria set up is to let the states demonstrate that they have or are willing to get the legislation that will empower the Water Users Association. And then, of course, we will observe that there are scattered legislations here and there, and then in some cases there are absence in some areas. So this legal framework gap has been identified. And then for the irrigation, of course, trimming institutional reform design is considered to be many counterparts to be the best available option to improve financial and operational performance and sustainability. Then the new WA laws are essential and prerequisite to achieve sustainable outcomes in the future. Without the WAs, I'm not sure we're able to sustain whatever we build right now. So there's a need to invest in RPD capacities for irrigation and water supply. And then we probably have observed poor participation of the states in irrigation development and maintenance. And this is why we're saying states have the opportunity now of coming in by themselves, since the WAs are domiciled in the state. You can empower the farmers. So you can do irrigation, you can do hydropower, you can even do navigation using the waterways. You can drain your areas properly. So dams can store, regulate, and direct water for agricultural production, hydropower generation, human and industrial use, and flood control. Most dams have multiple purposes. Of course, to be able to utilize the dams properly, we need to think of multi-purpose uses. The dam infrastructure should be designed, constructed, and operated to consider various co-benefits, including generating electricity, which is what I just mentioned. Next slide, please. Then Spain as a platform to catalyze key opportunities. This is where we are right now, or trying to get to. This takes us back again. The vision of the irrigation sector actually is for the participation of both federal states to fully harness the irrigation and potential of the existing water storages and achieve the national goal of 500,000 hectares by 2030 for food security. Then defining the roles and responsibilities of Federal Ministry of Water Resources, RPGs, and state and WAS. There's of course the need to clearly define roles and responsibilities to be able to optimize the use. Then what can Spain achieve by so doing? Now we're at the preparatory stage. Of course, at the end of it all, we need to have SOPs for irrigation and financing mechanism for the overall O&M in the POM. And then of course, include states irrigation projects through selected selection criteria, including co-financing, which is what we have just x-rayed through the criteria demonstrated. Then at implementation, what do we expect to see? We propose amendment of the RPD Act, potentially, so that we're able to do project-based contracting and then to streamline the roles and responsibilities of RPDs, set up legal basis for WAS establishments and operation through draft WA regulations under trimming that was done under trimming between Federal Ministry of Water Resources and then the RPD. And clearly, this led us to the two options, which is the Model 1, which is the federal scheme, looking at what we had before, and then the state scheme, which I described earlier. So I think, yeah, go to the next slide. So now, SPIN. What are the project development objectives? SPIN is to improve the safety of existing dams and enhance the associated climate resilience irrigation services and strengthen hydropower planning in Nigeria. That's the key project development objective. And then the project components, of course, are 4 of them. One is institutional strengthening for capacity building for the existing schemes we have and the new ones. Number 2 is to achieve irrigation modernization by bringing state-of-the-art technologies into our irrigation schemes in terms of farming techniques, improved seedlings, and so on and so forth. And then component 3 is the rehab and improvement of hydropower and storage services. That has to do with the existing dams and storages. And I use the opportunity to say to the states that for the state-owned dams, please, you have an opportunity to have your dams considered for rehabilitation. Later in the day, I will have your contacts and share a template of dam safety risk assessment portfolio that we have developed and we're working on right now. And then the fourth one, of course, the fourth component is the project management. No, come back. And then just to put a clarity to this, SPIN has started, the production of SPIN started in 2023, where we developed the project concept note in July 2023. We moved to this year. Sometimes in July, we need to go for decision from if the project should go or not happen. And then by September 2024, we'll have the board approval from the World Bank for the project to kick off. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, the components here are broken down further. I don't think I need to waste time on this. Component 1, institutional strength and capacity development. Whatever we had before is to strengthen them and then build capacities of our institutions so that institutions outlive people, not develop people, but develop institutions so they can actually continue running by themselves. Then second one, of course, is irrigation and agri services modernization. Whatever we have before, we will improve on them and then modernize them by introducing technology to our agricultural practices. Next one. Then number 3 is the breakdown of the rehab for that rehabilitation and improvement of hydropower and storages. Yeah, next one. Then the fourth one is the project management for the whole project, how the project runs, set up PMUs, PIUs, M&E departments, management for systems, ICT, and then of course we need to involve the citizens properly by engaging them and the capacity building there. So next slide. So state involvement is encouraged. However, to be eligible, states must fulfill certain criteria. The states have to be involved fully, or else we're not able to achieve 500,000 that that's what we're looking at. We have observed that, we have identified that, and then we have decided that states have a key role in achieving this. So that's why the states have to be involved. And then why do we need eligibility criteria? My colleague here has mentioned before now. The funding for the project for now is about $500 million. And the criteria being used is to help to rank the states and then to prioritize only states that have shown strong commitments. I know right now, yes, Ogun State did not show commitment initially, but because we're Ogun State, we said let's give the opportunity for Ogun State to have a bite or show commitment into this. So that's why we have them here today. And the reforms being promoted by SPIN can only succeed if there is a strong partnership between states. Criteria will help identify here. So there's no way we can achieve security and sustainability without bringing in the states, with the federal, working together, and then the people, of course. And then we use the criteria to evaluate, ensure transparency. Yeah, part of what we're doing here is that everybody sees the scoreboard and how these things are going. It won't sound as though my state was not invited or was thrown out for no just cause. Yeah. Yeah, so I think this brings up to, this is the same thing with what I have described before. Just a minute. Irrigation, data units, and so on and so forth. So this will all come clearer and later. So basically, I just said let me run down through what Spain is all about, and then how what happened before, and what we're hoping to go into, so that at least the Ogun State will be able to come to Spain with us. Thank you very much.
While the presentation was going on, I need the attention of, I think it's a World Bank representative. I saw something up there, Blackburn Institution for dam maintenance and management. Is it correct? There's institutional absence.
Which of the slide, ma?
When it comes up, I think just go to maybe the third slide.
Slide 4.
Where you have, okay. Yes, after the legal, not the one on the framework, where you have the 4 points.
Yes.
Is it that?
That's
Do you have, where you said that there is absence of institution for dam maintenance and all that. Because I was a bit lost, considering the fact that if you look at the law establishing the river basins, the dams.
Okay. Yeah, that should be in place.
Let me see.
Main institutional dams.
Where is it?
Nigerian water. It's also Nigerian sector.
Is it the legal framework or irrigation?
No. It's not. Let's go to the one before this.
There is absence of dam safety institutions.
Yes, something like that. Absence of dam safety institutions.
Yes.
Can you
That's
clarify?
not management.
Okay. Yes, absence of dam safety institutions. So I was wondering, the river basins are established. Part of our job function is maintenance of dams. So if you say there's an absence of dam safety institution, I'm a bit lost because already we exist for that. And in the course of our operations, we manage these dams across the nation. So I'll need you to clarify that.
Yeah.
Then another thing I saw was the issue of the WUA. I understand that they give them the responsibility of managing infrastructure, but I'm seeing canals, all those, and I'm wondering, is it practically, do they do that?
Okay.
In practical terms? I know about infrastructure, but then the canals, I'll need clarification if that is what is happening. Then the training, I believe that in the course of running the training project, power would have been one of the components, because if you want to have successful irrigation, power will naturally come in. So if that works, then what's the urgency for the need for a new kind of project? I just want to understand how training works without the issue of power being addressed. Now, is it as a fallout, we've seen that we now need to lay emphasis on this, or did the training project not work? We just need to know, because it gives us a good foundation to know where we're starting from. Then I can't remember, there was another thing I observed, maybe in the course of our discussion. While you're answering this, I'll remember it. I know there's a fourth one that was a red flag for me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Madam. On the dam safety institutional absence, what we're describing here is actually, if you come to Nigeria, unlike other countries, if I'm an investor, I'm going to invest in hydropower in Nigeria, do you have a one-stop shop? The answer is no. Now, if I ask you right now, if I have a dam safety issue, where do I go to in Nigeria? Is it Federal Ministry of Resource or Water Resources? Is it Prime Minister of Power? Is it the river basin authorities? Is it the states? So what we're saying is that looking at what has happened in other climes, is their case study, is that they have a department called Dam Safety Department. For instance, if a dam is to be built, who oversees the hydrological designs? Who oversees the geological designs? Who stands on, who approves them? Is there a body, an institution in Nigeria that handles that? as an institution? The answer is known to all of us. And that is what we're trying to address. How, when you want to develop hydropower or dams, where is that one-stop shop where you go and you get the approvals? If it's the FCT, you want to do property development, you go to what they call that development control or the FCTA, they tell you. But when it comes to dam safety for the country, we don't have one. And this is what we're trying to address, so that the issue of dam safety generally, both state-owned, federal-owned, and even private-owned dams, can all come under the register and dam safety issues are looked at. I think.
Okay, before we leave that, I don't know before. We're looking at the fact that the federal government is trying to reduce expenditure, trying to have a lot of institutions, bringing in new ones. They're even merging some. So why don't we since we're still reviewing the water resources bill, why don't we recommend that the river basins should take on that challenge? Because most times they are the ones constructing these dams, except a few, maybe the state will be initiated. But why don't we also look at the possibility of strengthening capacity instead of creating another institution for that purpose?
Yeah, why it's here is that this is a gap that we identified. Nobody is saying create a new institution or department. In fact, in part of our studies, while engaging, we realized that it's Nigeria that has the legislation, the mandate to handle dam safety. But go to water resources, dam partner will tell you it's them. Go to Ministry of Power, because they have some dams for hydropower, they tell you it's them. The RBDAs will tell you it's under them. So we need to all come together and agree that one institution is in charge of this. This is what we're trying to drive at. Yeah. Then for the WAS, can you take the question again, sorry?
No, I said I'm conversant with their responsibility as regards maintaining infrastructure.
Oh, yeah.
But the issue of the canals and all that.
Okay, fine. Now, SPIN is actually SPIN was moved by trimming. Trimming in Kano River Irrigation Scheme, Hajar Valley, just name them. Find out. Good progress. Yeah, progress was made. Now, like I mentioned before now, the RBDAs actually control the water releases, and they're paid for bulk water metering, right? After that, from that point henceforth, the secondary and tertiary canals, the maintenance, the farming, selling of produce, having a farmer's market, a farmer cooperative, having other things, should be run by the WAS, and they maintain their canals. And as we stand here, I will tell you confidently that this is in operation and they're making good progress in terms of income. In fact, if the WAS don't run this themselves, they will not be sustained. We have tried having the canals and so on to be managed and maintained by the RBDs, the federal, municipal, and states in the past, and they haven't really worked very well. So this model right now is giving results because they're kind of empowering the farmers. In fact, if you bring anything that will stop their water from coming to them, they will take it out with you. And you tell them, your canals, of course, if your canals are bad, efficiency will drop. They don't want that. So they generate revenue. In fact, what we call cascading grant, which was provided to them, and they are paid back, and they are on their own. You need to listen to testimonies from trimming projects. So this is how we think it will work right now. The RBDA is controlling the bulk water supply, while the WAS actually maintaining their canals and irrigation facilities themselves, because that's where they control. Yeah. Then the power aspect of trimming, in trimming, they say, why they put trimming? You see, the second component there is actually called agricultural modernization. We won't say trimming is giving the best of results. No. Of course, we all know that after produce are produced from the farm, they are transported to where they are required. We can imagine the amount of produce that is lost. Now, if you have power close by where you have your farms, processing, energy industries will come in. So So by so doing, you are actually maximizing the value chain of agricultural production. So this is where our thinking is that if you have irrigation, the more power your gains and some facilities, if you have power, of course it will be a lot more beneficial to everybody. So that is where the power thinking. For instance, classically, take Dadinkoa. Dadinkoa was a dam built 40 years ago. It started there, not being utilized. As we speak right now, Dadinkoa is developing 2,000 hectares of irrigable land, and they are doing 40 megawatts of electricity. So if you have 40 megawatts, you have enough energy to power the dam and its ancillaries, and then to equally power your irrigation schemes. One-stop shop. You can move up to set up pottery industries, all in one home. So this is the thinking of the bank, what gave birth to Spain. If you can have power and irrigation together, that means there's no way, with the words in place, there's no way the project will be sustainable.
Thank you. I remember the one thing I observed and I said I missed. You listed criteria, things that should be considered before you set up a dam. I'm going through it. I realized that most of these dams that have been constructed, especially the multi-purpose dams, they complied with the criteria. But the issue is how to harness those potentials. If you use Oyo Dam and Ikere Gorge Dam, they have hydropark potentials. Over the years, a lot of bureaucracy with harnessing it. So if they even meet this criteria, we still need to remove that bureaucracy that stops us, whether it's public-private partnership, whatever the issues are, so that we can now go further to use the dams for the purpose, because the dams have the potentials. That's not the problem. But being able to use them for the purpose for which they've been built is where. So I think we need to put some, I don't know how we coin that in the whole SPIN program, but something that speaks to the speed with which we harness this potential.
Yeah, before I hand over to you, what you have just described now is what we have on the table. If you observe, since yesterday, as a bank supporter, I have been at the background. The main players, terms of water resources, irrigation, dams, RBTs, it's your deal, it's your thing. The bank is here to support technically and to provide you the funds, but we need to be sure that after we don't want to put in funds here and come back in 5 years, the fund is no longer there. I just felt I'm meant to observe and provide clearance or clarity to conversation. So the policy stands here. This is what we talk about these dams not having potential and not harnessed. Truth be said, when SPIN came to mind, as soon as my superior colleagues saw that in Koa, loud, they were beautiful. They were like, no, it has to be SPIN. Because we have storage, we have over 400 dams in Nigeria. They have storages, just kept there. Oyanda, Ikere Gorge, Furling Rua. I can go on and on and on and on. They're all there seated, doing nothing, just being seated year in, year out. And we were saying, can you put them to use? Guess what? The outcome was after problem lines with water resources and power, they've all been concession.
On paper.
Now, you do it on paper. Now, the bank will not come in anywhere. The bank is meant to compete or come in where individuals have shown interest. Come to clean, clear areas. As far as they hear there is concessioning, whether it has happened or is ongoing, the bank backs out.
But the concessionaires, if we have a collaboration, can still come to the World Bank with. Are you saying they are offline?
As if you know, as a person, my thinking, I've told them severally, can the Ministry of Water Resources and Power bring these concessionaires into a room? If you come out today and say, guys, we have this dam, it's clean, show documentation. This commitment was saying, give us letters signed by the governor. If you come out today and say, these dams are clean, we are clean, the concessionaire that your paper will sign and agree that yes, go ahead. Why not? You get? So we don't just have investment that are lying, probably utilized, and this is what we're going through. I think my colleague has something to add. Meanwhile, he is
Yes, on experience. I must say that this engagement is one of the best things that is happening for the proposed spin project. This never happened with the Trinity project, and it's really a big issue. You did say something about power as it relates to Trinity project. Yes, the Trinity project criteria, where we didn't have the opportunity to engage like this and set up the criteria. They were just fed to us by the World Bank, and we had to use it. But now we are discussing criteria, we are modifying them to suit our own local needs. This is really a great thing. Part of the criteria that the World Bank gave us that they were restricted to gravity irrigation. You know, that really restricts potentials for the national coverage. I mean, what I'm seeing around here, a lot of hills, and it's really difficult to have gravity. So at some point, you need some pumping, whether you like it or not. But the World Bank were really not interested in anything pumping. Of course, for the fear of the sustainability, whether we like it or not, the cost of pumping has made a lot of projects to just go down. So part of the criteria they used was where can we have a gravity scheme that will cover nothing less than 2,000 hectares. I mean, the issues of the north being getting some advantage of it. I mean, if you're looking for 2,000 hectares gravity, it's really difficult to find it around here. So that has put in that part of the country to our advantage. I mean, there's nothing anybody can do about that. But I'm happy that we are seeing that if we really want to develop irrigation, there's no how we cannot do some pumping. And this is in line with the Water Master Plan. If you look at it, it's telling you that at some point you have to leave some water and then use some gravity. So that, I hope, answers your question why the power issues were not really. And on the WUAS, yes, the WUAS we have, it's functioning now, but not without challenges. We have challenges. I mean, some institutional challenges, even the beneficiaries to even accept these new ideas, it's a problem. But being in a transformative idea, you don't expect it to happen one day. So, you know, it's gradual, and we are still supporting the WUAS to do what is called the participatory irrigation management. Of course, the WUAS have the different level of management, and the RBDA has their own. So it's a partnership that is working, and we're doing a lot to make it work. And I can assure you that by the time this thing comes, you will see that it's not as if, I mean, I was in the ministry, I thought the only challenge we have was funding. Until when I had the opportunity to participate in where the funds are available, then there are all kinds of challenges coming in. And they will come to you. And by the grace of God, we'll be here to support and guide. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. I think I must appreciate the recap for our benefit. I just want a few clarifications, particularly on the WCA one, because I know there's been an issue of nomenclatures like that. I want to be sure that sorry, WUA. I know, you know it's about nomenclature, but what we have in the state is WCA, Water Conservation Association, you know, so which is a bit different, I don't know. But I'm sure that in essence they perform the same functions. So I just want to be sure that we are in line when it comes to that. Yes, it's about nomenclature. Then secondly, on the existing schemes, you were talking about standards on the existing schemes, and I think there is need for us to domesticate whatever we want to do. We know that we have two types of existing schemes in this country. One is the one that have the designs, that was done probably years back. So if we are talking about bringing the design again, is it the old design or refused design of referring to that one? Then two, we also got existing schemes that were not really designed, like they don't have those documents sort of like that. And they are functioning, they are in existence. So how do you treat such? That's the second clarification. Then the third one is regarding the hydropower. Do you agree with proposals that are single hydropower only? Because I can see that you're looking at hydropower, irrigation, and who are all together. But if you have a hydropower proposal only, will that fit into what you're thinking? So I think I'm okay with that. Thank you.
It's just an acronym. If you have a legislation which in the write-up supports irrigated farming or irrigation or agriculture, that's as good as what we're discussing. So if you have any bill or legislation that has passed that has, it could be called water users or water consumers, provided, of course, you're using water or consuming water. Consuming sounds to me like water supply, But if in the body, the write-up in the caption, you have agriculture or irrigation and so on and so forth, then of course it suffices. If not, if you're interested, there's a window of opportunity for you to show commitment and promise to go and amend your stuff, so that takes care of that. Then for the designs, yes, if you have old designs, all it needs to do is for you to update it. And if the project is quite attractive, I think usually they will ask you to update, or you may have a way of updating it from the pool of resources if it's very, very attractive. So whether it's old or new is not a hindrance, but if it's feasible and you have documents, you have studies, you have we call FSDD, feasibility studies and design reports, ESIAs, and so on and so forth. Then of course it suffices. Just that reviewing a scheme design that is laudable, of course, will take a very long time.
But ESI is recent,
What did you have before now? EIA.
But as the presentations were going on, I think I still found some discoveries that we need to look into. Number one is about the existing dams which we require for the project. You mentioned that it's going to attract rehabilitation, and there are, I don't know to the extent to which the rehabilitation will go, because in most of our schemes in the Osun State, there are about 3 problems that we do encounter there. Number one is power. Number 2 is obsoleteness of our equipment. And number 3 is even the pipelines. You'll see that most of the lines are AC pipes, and we have gotten the WHO marching order that we should go and exit them or replace them with HDP. So does this rehabilitation cover these 3 axes, ensuring that we have new equipment, then power? I know the power we are talking of now is for irrigation, but is it going to be extended to the scheme, to the water production also, and at the same time the distribution of water? Because if we produce now by Water Regulatory Board, Regulatory Commission,
they have this assignment, they have this role to play in ensuring that even after you produce water, they still go to the tap to see whether that water that we said we had processed is truly potable. And they get, at times they get contaminated because of the pipes. So this area, we want to see whether the rehabilitation will cover that area too. Now, the other one is, I want to be sure, because we are gradually getting to a reality now. And I don't know whether the payment, you have a situation, or you have done some bill ahead. Just rough estimate, so that we just know where we are going, even if we are accessing loan. I just know the territory of what we are looking at. I know each scheme we have its own peculiarities, and we have different bills that will come out. But let us just know the territory of what each scheme can cover. And the third one is on slide, the popular slide, and that is slide 16. You really dwell so much on it, and I want to make an observation there, where we have the training as model 1, where the ownership, the construction, operation and management was everything on federal. It's the federal and even the river basin, they are the same. We are now coming back to scheme model 2 on Spain. We have we are having a 200 million counterpart contribution for model 1 under Spain model 1. We are paying, let me say we have counterpart of 200 million. We are going to access the loan, and finally we are now being told that the federal will hold the project, federal will regulate the project, construction of the project is federal, operation and maintenance of primary and secondary system federal, only operation and management of tertiary system will now be for the states and WUAS. Then WUAS establishment is still federal. So I now come to this realization that it seems as if this project, you are forcing the state to go for model 2, because I don't see much advantage states can derive from having model 1, because all the operations, everything from 1 to the end, or let me say from A to Z, is under federal. So this area requires your own touch, because to have a counterpart of 200 million is not that easy, and using that 200 to generate a loan that will be repaid back by the state, whether the loan is a soft loan, is a friendly loan, or hostile loan, it is the state that will bear it. So, and the state is being stripped out of the responsibilities. So it seems as if you want to force us to go to the model 2, which I know will not be fair to those of us that have opted for model 1. So that's my observation on that. Thank you.
Currently, I oversee the establishment and strengthening of the existing walls in Hadejawadi irrigation scheme and Kano River irrigation scheme. I can tell you that even the financial agreement with the World Bank made a lot of emphasis on handing over the schemes to WAS after everything is done. Several models have been tried in the past. The only thing that was absent is the ownership of the scheme. These WAS are nothing but the owners of these schemes. And there's no best model for sustainability like handing over these schemes to be managed and operated by the beneficiaries, the farmers themselves. The O&M, like what we have there, state plus Y in the pilot 2 model, at this stage, we know that our OAS cannot stand on their own. So they need some support from the state. Otherwise, it's supposed to be an entirely war affair. And that's what we are doing, to put the farmers on the driving seat to own these schemes. The interest is they are to own the primary level of the scheme, while the RBDA or whatever institution that is there will own the primaries, the upstream. You're talking about the primary canal and the headworks. So it's a global practice now, and that's what we have not yet tested. And the result we're having from TRIMI, like I said, there are a lot of challenges that will come before you. At the moment, we're still trying to even get the RBDAs to accept this model. It's a challenge. When it comes here, you see it bringing up his head that, I mean, there's this apprehension that you are taking over our responsibilities and all that. But this is
agriculture. What is the position of Spain in relation to the model, either model 1 or model 2 that we are talking about? That's my question.
Take the question again.
I said in a particular environment or a state where we have 2 separate dams. One supporting hydro electricity, because there are no major land or standard land for agriculture. And the second one supporting agriculture, because there are not supporting hydro electricity. That what is the position of Spain in that regard? As related to the models.
Just to respond together, let me start on the already established existing protocol. I must thank the Honorable Commissioner for Water Resources for taking up to this level, because in one way or the other, he has lessened our burden at the Ministry of Economic Planning, Budget and Development. It's we that are supposed to be looking for the resources to take care of the needs of the state. So I appreciate you, sir. So having said that, if I get to now, the first question the Honorable Commissioner for Ministry of Economic Planning, Budget and Development will ask me, if as a state, if we make provision of 200 million counterpart fund in our budget, what is it coming back to the state? We know it's the credit. We make provision of 200 million, what is it coming back to the state? That is sacrosanct. And secondly, we like to have the presentation of the overview of the SPRING project so that we can study them thoroughly. Then thirdly, I'm looking at this area. This is not the first time we do all this World Bank assisted project at the state level. Creating of a designated account, which is going to be managed by the federal agency. I don't see the feasibility of it. It's not the first time of doing the Qatar or doing the World Bank assisted project. I don't see the feasibility of it. So let's look into that. My honorable commissioners has raised a vital issue, which I expect the World Bank team to take as a feedback mechanism to improve on what we have on ground in the implementation of these SPRING projects. Osun River Basin. I see them as an intermediary for this facility. I don't know what mechanism does the agency put in place to ensure that this facility is appropriately utilized. We have been having a lot of headache concerning all these World Bank projects. So I don't know the mechanism they will put in place so that if a fail to do one or two things, is there any sanction? It's very critical. So let me rest my case at this level. Thank you so much.
Let me build on that question. I know the Ministry of Water, the initial water project was undertaken by the IDB, Islamic Development Bank. It's a loan. You know, yesterday I was talking about loan being skeptical or being scared of even incurring more loan. Though we have not started paying that loan, but the project up till now, like the major hub of that project is the water treatment plant is at 10% now, and we have collected almost $60 or $70 million on that project. We do have complaints, the extension of time, the contractors did not get funds from the IDB on time. If we put up an invoice now, 1 year, 13 months, 16 months, after the invoice, it gets paid. So all these problems coming from angles of the government, the past government, from the contractors, from the IDB, from the Federal Ministry of even Finance. All this, we had a lot of problems. So that's the questions that he raised now, so that there won't be any issues once this project. The beauty of having this project, because the people that will benefit, the beneficiaries, up till now, they have not been, even just to open it up, nothing. So this kind of experience is what we are guiding, and that's why we raised the question, so that there won't be any problem. The smooth running of the project will be a very thing, a good thing to us. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the questions. I'll start by from the question of if you have a power project separate and a irrigation project separate, how does that fare on that spin? What I can say is, if the projects are quite close, if the power dam is going to serve the irrigation fields or the agro-processing industry of the agri component, of course it really comes under spin. But if they are completely independent, that may not fall under spin, they fall under other projects that people is looking at. Now, like this scheme is being planned, the design of this scheme, it's building on the successes of trimming. All these fears on how it has run. In trimming, I have never heard of invoices or payments delayed if there are no serious issues. If this did not succeed, there will be no point building on the successes. I joined like close to 2 years now. I wasn't part of trimming per se, but people who are dreaming are here and I see how they run. As long as you go by the rule, your funds are not stuck. And the deposit, the counterpart fund you're making is not a deposit, it's called counterpart funding. You see how it is spent. there is transparency in all the system. That's why if you look at the position we had, there is the federal monitoring unit for the federal projects, and then the state monitoring unit, where you have your own staff seconded to these projects.
We want to know, because cost of diesel in Nigeria is on the high side. When you are talking about participation, you need pump. You have to power the equipment. But in the southern part here, we don't have constant electricity. So I think let us know, because we keep talking about irrigation, you not mention, you just watch power outside. So let us know what is going to happen.
Yes. Now you're actually coming back to why we said projects that are ready right now have gone through feasibility study stages, design stages, and they've been adopted and ready to go. These questions you're asking are things that will be looked and considered at those initial stages. I can't imagine any irrigation scheme or project that is successful by powering using generators. Difficult. The cheapest form of energy that we all know is either hydro, the renewables. The renewables. So if these are not incorporated into it, then we'll have an issue. For instance, for existing storages, there is a strong clamor to have a hybrid.
For the closing remark to bring the program to a close.
So I think that we are going to continue on the back of God because I don't want the commissioner to go to
Please. We really enjoy his interactions yesterday with us. Yes. We appreciate it, sir. Oh, thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Sir, we really don't know what is the stand of the state. Let me say something about Ogun State. It seems as if your correspondences, the way they structure their own, they have a RUWESA under, I think, infrastructure.
Ministry of Special
They have a water corporation under another ministry. So it's there is no Ministry of Water Resources. You understand? It's the same thing happening to Oyo. So the problem, when I called the Ogun State Commissioner, she said she is not aware. So that means the correspondences did not go to, though the commissioner is for RUWESA. He came to the program we had 1 month ago, but she didn't know about this program at all. So I don't know where we channel our letters to and how they respond to it.
No, the best thing is to do
yes, I think all this
and the same thing happening to Oyo too.
Yes,
all this
God bring the letter to us. We know to give the letter to them. That's the best thing. So,
okay. Anyway, we pass the information across God in regards to this.
So, before we close out, my own something about the Spain now is that, let me say, the state, actually a state. I think all of us are going to embrace Spain. Yeah, because the implementation of Spain, both elements potential. One, to revolutionize agricultural opportunity. And two, you know, going to foster economic growth. 3, mitigate environmental degradation. So I think it's going to help us in the southwest. If all of us can embrace this scheme. And about the energy, the renewable energy and modern irrigation technique. Nigeria can pave way for a greener and more prosperous future while ensuring food security. So we had a very good discussion, and I pray that on our
to fly Kampala to
No problem. No problem.
So by the grace of God, by next month, you see up there.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I want to say big thanks to the Honorable Commissioner present from Ekiti State, from Osun State, the representative of the Commissioner from Ogun State, the Executive Director of Engineering, and management of Ogun River Basin Authority, for your patience, for your contributions, for your questions, because every question is relevant and it will really help us to build on the trimming project. We appreciate you, most especially the commissioners, the special advisor from Osun State, for their patience. We salute you. We are really encouraged. Everybody, we say this thing to you. Thank you.